Gen Z and millennials have been psyoped. Nobody wants to work anymore, in a traditional sense, but how did this happen? Stay tuned to find out. The myth that nobody wants to work anymore has been around for generations. Every era has its "these young whippersnappers" type dude that spouts the virtues of hard work and how his generation was the best generation. But it actually turns out that the boomers are the ones lagging in the employment field. According to an Investopia article, the pandemic has created 2.4 excess retirees. It turns out the older generation decided they've had enough of the man and they want to take their life into their own hands. And we see this pattern showing up in the Generation Z and Millennial age groups. Because it turns out that people are tired of working for a boss and they don't want to go to the office anymore, and that has driven a risen in the search for remote and online business opportunities. So according to U.S. Chamber of Commerce, about half of people are not willing to take jobs unless there's a remote option, and nearly 2/3 of Americans who lost their full-time job during the pandemic said they are only somewhat active or not very active of searching for a new online job. And this has been the catalyst for the modern-day online lifestyle influencer. People like Andrew Tate, Hamza, and Iman Gadzhi have risen to fame off the back of the trend to remote work and online business. According to the Census Bureau, the U.S. Census Bureau, 4.4 million new businesses were created during 2020, the highest on record, and nearly 25% increase in online businesses. Now, why would this be? Well, the narrative of financial freedom, traveling and doing whatever you want has taken a particular hold amongst the younger populations, particularly Gen Z, where nearly 70% of Generation Z has plans to start their online business or becoming a YouTube influencer. And why wouldn't they want that? Why wouldn't they want to work from home and not have to deal with office politics or any of the negatives like commuting that the older generations face? I mean, it is the good life, being able to do whatever you want. But the reality of starting an online business is starkly different than what is being portrayed by the run-of-the-mill influencer. So unlike other traditional industries like nursing or IT, where there's a continual demand for new people into the marketplace and there's plenty of room for those people, internet marketing and starting an online business is a feast or famine type industry. So the way it works is that a small portion of the participants make the most money, and the bottom rung, which is most people, only make a meager amount of earnings to the point where they basically bust out before they can bridge that gap of being a top earner, kind of like how the acting industry is. So what's happening is these influencers are encouraging people to quit their jobs cold turkey and then just go headfirst into an online business. And while that may have worked for them, the reality is that for those people, it was, I wouldn't say luck, but they might have been there at the right moment and their skill sets that they trained kind of intersected just at that time. So from their perspective, it makes sense. It's like, yeah, it worked for me. When I quit my job and started an online business, I became a multimillionaire. It worked for them, but it was only because the timing was perfectly correct, and it could have just as easily gone the other way. But for the average person, it's not going to work that way. So in order to play the online business game, you need time. And the worst possible thing you can do is take their advice of quitting your job and going headfirst into online business, because you just can't afford to take that risk. If there's a real possibility that you spend the next 2 years building a business that everything might actually be correct, but because the timing's off, it doesn't take off in the way that it did for the online influencers who are making multi-millions per year. Not everybody gets to be in that position. So we have to take a more practical look at this, or else you're going to be psyoped like everyone else. In fact, it's in my opinion that it's better to approach online business as more of a side gig, a side hustle, something that you can do to make a couple extra $2,000 a month part-time while you work your full-time job, whether it be in person or remote. This way you can slowly but surely acquire the skills, make some income, and make that transition from full-time employment to being your own boss. It's going to take you time though, but entrepreneurship is a long game. Online business is a long game. This is something that you're going to want to attack over the course of a decade or more. Don't believe what the influencers are telling you. You're not going to be making multi-millions overnight. Yeah, sure, it happens for some people. It's just not practical for the majority of people. Now, I'm not in any way telling you not to go after your dreams, because I personally have been an online entrepreneur for my entire life. So there are people making it work, but it's not as easy as it's made out to be today in 2024, 25. And because of that, you're going to have to compete over a longer time horizon. Meaning, don't quit the job, keep it, be practical and smart about it, build up your nest egg, and slowly transition over to the full online lifestyle. What are your thoughts? Does any of this ring true to you? Hopefully this was a little kernel of deadbeat wisdom. I want you to succeed in a practical way, and going all in without a safety net is just a recipe for failure. Unfortunately, a lot of people are being psyoped into doing this because it's in the financial gain of the influencer suggesting that you do this. Let me know what you think. My name's Dan Brock, the Deadbeat Super Affiliate, and I'll see you in my next video.